everybody, I'm meteorologist Ashley Smith here in the First Alert Streaming Center. Just getting a couple of things set up, although I think we're good to go here. Okay. Okay, just want to make sure that everything is set up. Looks like it is. Okay, so we're live everywhere. Hello, Seth. I'm doing okay. Toward the end of my work day, which, you know, that's always a good thing, I guess. So, all right. Looks like we are good to go. Sorry for a little bit of a delay there. Just getting ready. Okay, so obviously it's a beautiful day. Finally, we have a break from the storm chances for today and tomorrow. So if you do have plans to be outside, you're going to be fine. But we are going to be tracking the remnants of Beryl into our region over the, especially next week. So we'll be talking about some of that coming up. We're also talking about the heat returning. Now, today's not that humid. It's actually, I went outside maybe 30, 40 minutes ago, and it was pretty nice. Temperatures today are going to be near normal, humidity a little bit lower than it has been, and then tomorrow temperatures do start to warm back up. Okay, so let's get into it. All right, outside right now, as I mentioned, just beautiful. Clouds have increased for sure compared to what it looked like much earlier this morning. We started the day with completely clear skies, but these are just fair weather clouds. Not going to see any threat for rain at all today. And of course, here is your proof. On radar, we don't see anything locally, and then of course as we continue to kind of widen that view, we don't see any kind of rain until we move into parts of Nebraska, the Dakotas, seeing some wet weather, and then of course the New England states as well. So definitely, even if you're traveling today, I think you're going to be hard pressed, even if you're driving several states away, to find any of that precipitation. So it should be pretty nice overall. Tropical Storm Beryl, of course, at one time was a Category 5 hurricane, has now been downgraded all the way to a tropical storm. But the evolution of this storm has been quite interesting, and it's not done. We actually think that it could become a hurricane again before making landfall in Texas. You can kind of tell even just by looking at the satellite view that we have here that it is continuing to kind of strengthen, become a little bit more organized. It was really disorganized earlier this morning, and now it's starting to get more organized, meaning stronger and perhaps becoming a hurricane again. So here is the track of that tropical storm right now. Expected to stay a tropical storm through this weekend, but then by Monday becoming a Category 1 hurricane, making its way toward the Texas coast. And so as it moves closer toward Texas, obviously it's going to bring some very heavy rain. Actually, let me see if I can read the description from the National Hurricane Center. They're usually really good about pointing out what the threats are. Flash and urban flooding, some of which may be locally considerable, is likely across portions of Texas Gulf Coast and eastern Texas beginning late Sunday through the middle of next week. Rip currents will cause life-threatening beach conditions through the weekend across much of the Gulf Coast. Life-threatening storm surge from lower and middle Texas coast late Sunday into Monday, where hurricane and storm surge watches are in effect. A tropical storm warning is in effect for portions of deep South Texas, and additional warnings will likely be issued later today. The rainfall is pretty impressive. Looking like up to a foot of rain in parts of Texas. So yeah. And then what happens if we kind of move this forward, what you see here is that it starts to make that curve to the northeast, and that brings some of the remnants of Beryl into the tri-state. This will not happen until the middle of the week. We think the best chance for some of that rain, some of those remnants here in the tri-state, will mostly be Wednesday and Thursday. And it's, no longer will it be a tropical storm at that point, just simply the remnants of that storm. So just think of it as a rainstorm, any kind of storm, but it's just going to have a lot of moisture with it. And some very gusty winds too at times. So that would be the middle of the week. Now, of course, as we've been pointing out lately, we could use the rain drought monitor, which this was updated on Thursday, shows kind of a swath of moderate drought from basically Columbus all the way into southern Indiana, a portion of Illinois in that as well. So a large portion of our area in either a moderate drought or abnormally dry. And so everybody could use some of that precipitation. Even though we did get some rain in the past several days, it's just not enough to make up for that deficit, almost a 4-inch deficit in June. So we definitely need a good soaking rain, and it looks like that will come Wednesday and Thursday. A lot could change between now and then with the track of Beryl, just because it has a lot of space to cover, and so a lot could happen. There's a cold front that moves in on Tuesday that could kind of impact the path of Beryl. These are all things that are being taken into consideration as those forecast models in the National Hurricane Center make that forecast, but it's still one of those things that is not a perfect science by any means. So again, something we'll be watching. Temperatures here at home in the 70s to near 80 already, and very similar across really the eastern portions of the country, meaning that there's no real disruptions out there, no major boundaries that are moving in, cold front, warm front, nothing like that. 77 right now in Westchester and Harrison, 76 in Florence, Brooksville 74, Hillsborough and West Union 76. At CVG it's 77 with the wind out of the west at 8 miles per hour, dew point 63. So a little on the humid side, but nothing like what we've had lately. I mean, those dew points in the 60s really isn't terrible. As has been typical, Lebanon and Batesville reading a lot higher as far as the dew point, and so the heat index will be higher there. It's mostly just because of the vegetation near that thermometer, but once you get away from there, it's not as bad. Dew points for most of us right now are in the 60s. If we're going to Great American Ballpark, this afternoon, it's a 4:10 first pitch. Temperatures will be in the mid-80s. Really pleasant conditions expected. It will be dry. No threat of rain. Yesterday, let me take a drink, actually. Stand by. I think yesterday's rain delay was like 26 or 28 minutes, just enough to kind of cause a little bit of a disruption. I wasn't at the ballpark, but I imagine that it was enough time to go get a hot dog and a cold beer and come back or something like that. Today, you won't have to worry about that at all. There's no threat of any kind of rain. UV index. So if you are heading to that game, to the swimming pool, out to the river, whatever you may be doing today, keep in mind that the UV index is very high because, of course, we're not going to see a lot of cloud cover, and even with the cloud cover, it's not enough to kind of block out that sun. Let's look ahead to those rain chances. We're going to fast forward this all the way to Tuesday because that's really our next chance for any kind of scattered thunderstorms across the area. And then a better chance for more widespread rain when we do see the remnants of Beryl arrive Wednesday and Thursday. So scattered thunderstorms Tuesday, better chance for widespread rain both Wednesday and Thursday across the area. And then that rain does depart by Friday. I think the weekend's looking dry. We're still kind of keeping a chance for rain in there on the weekend forecast just because there is still the potential that we could have some wet weather, but I think it's trending dry. So of course that's still a ways away. That's next weekend, but just something worth mentioning. Not only are the Reds in town, FC Cincinnati also at TQL Stadium this evening, 7:30 kickoff, and of course playing Inter Miami. It's a big game there at TQL Stadium. So temperatures will be in the 80s for tailgating. By the time the game begins, it will be falling down into the 70s. So pleasant conditions there at TQL Stadium as well. We're warmer tomorrow. We're near 90 degrees for Sunday, into the 90s on Monday, and then those rain chances arrive Tuesday throughout much of the week, providing us with that much needed rain. But of course, we don't want a deluge because with the ground being dry, you could see a lot of runoff, and that could cause some problems as well. Hi, Helen. Thanks for joining us. Okay, Sharon says, could we have something similar to what happened from Hurricane Ike here in the Cincinnati area? No. I don't think it's going to be like Hurricane Ike. That's funny. We were talking about Hurricane Ike over the weekend. I don't remember why, but someone brought that up. And I don't think so because by the time it gets here, it will have lost a lot of its moisture, and it has a forcing mechanism. So it will not linger. It will not kind of stall out and stay here. So that should be good. Okay. I'm looking at like the projected rainfall totals, and they are not impressive. I'm going to check a couple different models. I'll show you guys this as well. I also wanted to see. So on Wednesday, because of course we did get that really heavy rain on Wednesday, we saw 7/10 of an inch of rain. Then on the 4th of July, it was 9/100. This is coming in from CVG. Yesterday, 36/100 of an inch of rain, so more than a third of an inch of rain. So we're actually sitting pretty good so far this month. We're actually almost exactly two times the amount of precipitation that we should see for this point in the month. But of course, that's because on the 3rd, we got so much rain. Okay, let's look at projected rainfall totals with Beryl. I'm looking at the yeah. Okay. Let me make sure this is going to go out far enough. Today until Wednesday. Let's go Friday. Okay, let's go model by model. So this is the GFS. So this is the American model. I mean, you're looking at between a quarter to maybe a half of an inch of rain. Not a lot. The European, a lot more. The European showing 1 to 3 inches of rain. That's probably more in line with what we're going to see. The NAM, the North American model, this is probably too far out. Let me see. Yeah, it only goes, so let me see here. Yeah. Okay. Do you want to save changes? No. Okay. And then this is probably, what is this? Okay. Too far out for this one too. So we don't have any of the high resolution models that far out. So even if we, which these two are two varying extremes, you have 1 to 3 inches and you have basically, 0.2 to 0.6 of an inch of rain. I mean, that's a huge, huge difference. What I would say is I would plan for around an inch of rain between those 3 days. Really, it's Wednesday and Thursday, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because these models vary so much. Let me see. We can look at a different one. I guess I'm more tired than I realized. I think that the problem here is that with those uncertainties that I mentioned earlier, all of the models are really having a hard time deciphering which track that's going to take and if it is going to stall out, and then that would mean a lot more rain. Right now, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Let's see. When I showed you this model, let's change this model a little bit. Where is this model? Okay, so let's change it. Okay. So this is the GFS. I showed you the European earlier. So the GFS, again, shows those scattered storms on Wednesday, or on Tuesday, sorry. On Wednesday and Thursday, it does not bring as much rain to us as the European model had. Now let me see if we widen this, it'll show the track a little bit better. Let's do this one too. I mean, it has it coming along the Texas coast right there, coming through Houston very late Monday night. And then it does have it kind of combining with the system along the coast. So that's a very different solution than what the other models had. I would tend to disagree. Do you want to say changes? No, I do not. Let me see how far out this one goes. Is that, yeah, not very far. Okay. It is beautiful outside, Becky. Thank you, Melvin. Hi, John. Okay, I would tend to agree with this model that brings more of our rain chances Wednesday and Thursday and more of an off and on, more steady rain, both Wednesday and Thursday. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to rain all day Wednesday and all day Thursday, but I think at times that rain's going to be pretty steady, and then it continues to make its way to the east. So I would tend to agree with that portrayal, but oftentimes with these systems, it's hard because it hasn't made landfall yet. It's really hard to determine how it's going to interact with the different systems that we already have in place, different weather systems like fronts and different low pressure systems that we might already have in place here in the country, and how it's going to interact with those. And then of course there's also how much it interacts with the different land masses too. So it's expected to kind of move along the plains and stay west of the Appalachian Mountains. So we'll see if that, until it kind of makes that curve. So that could have a big factor too if it stays west or east. So yeah, all of those things have to be taken into consideration with a system like that. And it's going to be a big determining factor when it actually makes that landfall in Texas. And right now, the National Hurricane Center has it speeding up, has it becoming a hurricane again with stronger wind speeds by the time it does make landfall on Monday. It could also kind of ride along the Gulf Coast for a while, which would be really bad. We want it to move quickly, so we'll have to see. But yeah, a lot of things worth watching for sure. I don't think that there's another system out there. No, not yet. Okay. Okay. Okay, if I've answered all of your questions. Okay, I believe I have. And I think there's still some more 4th of July celebrations happening today as well across parts of the tri-state, so it's going to be a great day for any of that. Let's look at these temperatures again. Yeah, so even as of 11 a.m., we're still in the upper 70s here at home. The noon temperatures, I wouldn't be surprised if we have a couple of 80s on there, but still relatively low humidity too, which is really nice. Okay, I think I'm going to sign off. It's a beautiful day. We should all get off of our devices and enjoy it if we can. Obviously, I still have some work to do, but wrapping that stuff up. The other thing I wanted to mention, because I don't want to end this without mentioning it, or end the day without mentioning it until I actually did do something for the 10 o'clock news, but let's stand by. I'm trying to, okay. Today is the 2-year anniversary of the Goshen tornadoes. If you remember, it was in the middle of the afternoon. We had actually 11 tornadoes total that day across the country, and I think like 4 or 5 of them were in Ohio, several of them in our area. So the Goshen tornado, obviously you remember the Allstate building, the office building there, and then the coffee shop next to it, I believe it was called the Goshen Grind, and then the fire department, the fire station, which still hasn't been rebuilt. That's kind of gone through, they've been trying to find the funding because insurance only paid for so much, and to build a new station it's going to cost a lot more, and so they've been trying to solicit funding in other ways. They recently secured some funding for that, so they are going to demolish the old building next month. This is the timeline as of now, and then rebuild, break ground by the end of this year, and it should be done by the fall of 2025. So they've been operating out of another building in the meantime, and it hasn't been ideal for them. So that's part of the picture there. I went back, the last time I was there was in this past fall, I think that was the last time I was there. And yeah, there's still a lot of cleaning up, a lot of rebuilding to do. The other thing is, and there are a lot of organizations that do this, but after tornadoes take down so many trees in the town, there are a lot of organizations that replant those trees. So a lot of stories still going on there, even though it's been 2 years. That's really not a ton of time to be able to rebuild. So just, want to think about those folks in Goshen that are still going through that, and all of the other areas that were impacted by the tornadoes and the severe storms that day. Again, today is the 2-year anniversary of the Goshen tornado. So I will have kind of a wrap of that, talking about what happened 2 years ago and a bit of the rebuilding process on our news tonight at 10. Let me see if our news is on time, because we've had soccer on lately. So I don't want to tell you. We do have soccer on this afternoon, but looks like it ends by 5. And then they have baseball. So they have Brewers at Dodgers. So the news will go on after that. It's scheduled to go on at 10, but with baseball, you never really know. So, all right. So, yeah, so I have that story coming up at 10 o'clock. Yes, I hope that everybody gets a chance to get outside and enjoy this beautiful weather, because, we've been really spoiled, or we're going to be spoiled today and tomorrow after all the kind of crummy weather we've had the past few days. So enjoy your weekend. Of course, I'll see you again tomorrow morning.